Thomas bringing up my ex triggered me in a way that I was surprised in the end about. And it wasn't so much about my ex, but the fact that how unjust this situation is and how unfair. My ex and I broke up because he hated the fact that I was in this and wouldn't let it go. And so that's what that was one of the biggest things that split us up. So them suggesting that they're going to go after him, and all he wanted was me to be out of it. What are they going to do next? Go after my college professors? You know, my high school teachers? Maybe some friends I was in high school with. Maybe that's next. Maybe they get to go do that. But I will say that Thomas yesterday in this fucking weird ass email exchange that he just continuously, I'm not so sure that it's not just him sometimes with all these different accounts. I'm not sure that it's not him because they all come at once. Yesterday, he sent me an email saying Kash Patel is now head of the FBI, and he said winning underneath it. And I found it kind of humorous. So, of course, I just send all this shit out and to the police and all that. And just pointed out to him, you do realize that the dude who that winning quote comes from is now bankrupt and dying of AIDS. That's the Charlie Sheen. He's bankrupt. And from what I understand, and he's dying of HIV, which becomes AIDS when you're I don't know how it works anymore. That's how it used to work. Now with the medication, I don't know the semantics of it anymore. But regardless, he's sick and broke. I don't think he necessarily thinks he's winning anymore. The deputy that I hung up with yesterday morning called me back in the afternoon. And we had a conversation. I'm staying just neutral because he was decent as always. I will say that when I was explaining things, I told him, I don't trust you guys. And his response was, that's fair. And so that, he was nice. The number he gave me is recorded because I asked him directly because he, and, but I also pointed out that calling 911, I think I've called 911 3 times. And I've lived in Harlan for 4 fucking years. It's not like it's just, over and over and over and over. Yesterday, about this shit with my ex, probably not necessary. Good morning. And so I'll start calling that number. The dude was decent, and he listened to me. The issue that I had yesterday was that what you experienced yesterday with my video, because it was worse in the morning and it was bad all day. I haven't had a PTSD meltdown like that in years and years. And I am just so sick. Thomas is a felon. He's involved with a lot of bad shit. He needs to be investigated. This group that he has, this constant email harassment, when I got off this live, I probably had 20 emails from 5 different people, and it's all them. It's always all them, And to me, it irritates me. But I could see that when they do that to people, especially women, who are generally the victims, because men don't survive. My therapist always has told me that most men who go through the stuff that I went through end up dead or in jail, and the fact that I'm still here and fairly normal is nothing short of a miracle. But this email, the shit that they're doing, no wonder that girl that was investigating Isaac Cappy, who ended up dead, Twyman, Tracy Twyman. I might not have. I think it's Twyman, but I don't know about the first name. If they did this shit to her, no wonder she was so afraid. Because in the end, they said she was terrified. Isaac was terrified. That's the reason why Isaac ended up reaching out to Craig Sawyer, because he didn't know who else to turn to, and he was terrified. That's what this group does. And they just dance around, and now they think, oh, well, Kash Patel is part of it. So, and Thomas brought up this whole thing with Gabe Hoffman and this lawsuit. It's the same kind of lawsuit that Paul Bonacci had with whoever the fuck he sued. And he was supposedly got $1 million, but no money ever got exchanged. It's called controlled opposition. It's so that they can tell you, oh, well, look, things have gotten done and victims have gotten justice, but the victims are part of the bad guys. And that's how it works. Gabe Hoffman and his open secret thing was always a part of this bullshit. He was the third part of Russ Dizdar and Craig Sawyer when that Arizona homeless camp got exposed, which is what got Isaac murdered. That and the Blood Diamond bullshit that he got involved with down in Australia. Isaac's life was a disaster. I had no idea until I started talking about him a year and a half ago. And his friends descended upon me. All of this, they think that they've won. They do. They think that they've won. Now Kash Patel is in there, and they just think that they have it all solid down. But I don't think that's the case, because I think that God is about to intervene. And the shit that we are about to see, there won't be any mistaking whether or not there's a God in the end. That's what I think. I actually journeyed this morning. And it's the first time I journeyed, because usually I'm conscious of myself and on the other side. It's hard to explain. I did that this morning and was in the dark. It was all around me. It was all around me. And but in the journey, I was in the dark, but I was a part of the dark, and the dark was part of me. And I think that's what I was supposed to be shown, because then I ended up in front of father and mother. And, I think that this stuff is coming down. I think that's the reason why they're on top of me, because these dumbasses are fucking obsessed with me. That's the reason I'm doing this live at 9:30 in the morning, because maybe they're sleeping off the drugs. That's what I'm fucking hoping. It's because a lot of them, they don't sleep. They don't sleep. Some of these people will just email me all night long. It's the most bizarre thing. They are obsessed. They are obsessed. And the only thing I've ever asked for in all of this is that this shit gets investigated. That's all I've ever wanted. That's all I've ever asked for, is that it was investigated. And this is the kind of shit that I've had to go through. Them bringing up my ex's name, and I haven't even spoke to him in 13 years. And it's just all a mind fuck for these guys. That's what it is. It's just a big mind fuck. They argue the stupidest shit. They bring up things that Thomas trying to desperately equate me with Terry Joyce is ridiculous. They're controlled opposition. They're both working together. That's what I believe, is that they're both working together. Because one says I'm working with the other, and the other says I'm working with the other. When it comes down to it, there's no way I would want to associate with either one of them on any level, you know? And that's how it works. And so, I don't know. I just think that this is the best way to. I apologize for yesterday and flipping out. I think that things are getting ready to come down the pike. I'm really hoping that the deputy that I have talked to now a couple times is actually legitimate. That's what I'm hoping, is that he's legitimate. He told me that this whole thing with my ex, that I would have to call the city where he's in, and I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not bringing this fucking chaos back to his front door. I'm just not doing it. And it sucks, but I'm just hoping that someone who knows him, who also knows me, watches these and gives out a shout out. You know, knowing him, he'll just roll his eyes anyway. So it won't make that big of a difference. There's nothing I can do. But the fact that Thomas is they're so enmeshed. At the same time that I get that email that they're laughing about stealing that 2005 Dell laptop out of my house, at the exact same time, Johnny Dub is telling me, and that's a fake account. I think it's Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, but fuck, it could be Thomas. You know? Who knows? I don't know. That's the whole thing. And how would I fucking know? How could I ever figure it out? I don't have access to Shadow Dragon. That computer program that's supposed to figure out where the email is from. But at the same time, they're bragging that they stole that laptop. Johnny Dub is telling me, well, Thomas doesn't trust you because of what's in your house. And they're saying that it's the background to this, because I always come to the same place. This is all staged. But at the exact same time. So it's just one more fucking coincidence, but it's not a coincidence. They're all working together. You know, they're all working together. They break into my house at fucking will. They do whatever they want to do. They are jamming me so fucking hard right now with that shit, those directed energy weapons. And of course, people want to go, oh, those don't exist. I guess the United States Air Force was lying in 2006 when they went in front of Congress and said they had these weapons and they were going to use them on American citizens to show the rest of the world they were safe. And now it's 2025 and nobody even fucking knows about these. So that begs the question, why not? But whatever. You know, that's so many people anymore, which is what I was saying yesterday. Their whole reality is determined solely on their opinions. And their opinions are solely based on uneducated guesses. They're not educated. People tell themselves whatever the fuck it is they want to tell themselves. And it's usually so they can feel better. And so to be controlled by that is ridiculous. You know, is ridiculous. And the lies that go on that are so stupid. I knew two teachers. Not only are the schools not performing sex changes on your kids or anyone's kids, they can't afford shit. So, and you tell me that these people don't have kids, they don't go to school, they can't see. The shit's not happening in their schools, but it must be happening in everybody else's. It's just, they have people focused on the stupidest shit. The stupidest shit. While we have fucking Nazis who are doing Nazi salutes. First it was Elon Musk. Now it's Steve Bannon. the Department of Defense dude, Hegseth, has a Nazi tattoo on his chest, but we can't actually figure out the reality of the whole situation because they say it's not, even though it's right in front of our faces. It's like Thomas telling me that he's a felon, but he never went to jail. It's basically what the Nazi philosophy is if you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, it becomes the truth. And that's what they taught in World War II. I believe that's a Mussolini thing, but I could be completely wrong. But it's World War II, and it comes from the Nazis. You know the difference between then and now? There's too much information out there. Telling a lie loud enough and long enough only works if that's the only lie you're telling, or there's just a little collection of lies that are being told. But that's not the case anymore. There's so much shit out there. Nobody believes anything. That's the reason why we're so focused on just thinking about our uneducated opinions on how we think the world should work. Because there's so much nobody believes. You know, that's history does not repeat itself. It echoes. And thinking that this whole Nazi bullshit is going to take off, it's just like that. What was it in Pennsylvania? It just happened a week or two ago. These neo-Nazis had the swastika flags walking around. It was great until the fucking people who lived there chased them into their U-Haul van and they all drove away. That's what's gonna happen. No one is embracing this Nazi bullshit. And all of these layoffs, what do you think they're going to do? Now it's flooded a job market that doesn't have any. Everything is going to crash down. That's the only logical choice for it, is that it's going to crash. But the issue with it crashing, China's great, Russia's great. They both have their economies. But America, we're the fucking consumers. We just can't get enough of anything. We are the consumers. So once our money goes away and we can't consume, our economy is going to crash. And the other countries whose economies are based on our consumerism are also going to crash. It's a logical, critical reasoning, taking what's happening and what's going to go down to its logical conclusion. It's not rocket science. Well, maybe nowadays it is. But it is the logical conclusion when you understand how the world works. And everything is getting ready to crash. And they really do think that they have it all. And they're all Nazis. You know, that's the reason why Thomas is bragging. Oh, now that Kash Patel is, director of justice, they're home free, winning. You know, of course, again, that's a phrase that comes from a dude who is now bankrupt. And, dying. I don't think he feels like he's winning anymore. And unfortunately, all of these Nazis, what they've done is get all of these dumbass kids. These dumbass kids. They may know computers, but they don't know shit. This whole little Elon Musk thing of the 19 to 25-year-olds. What the fuck do they know about life? At all. At all. That's the reason why everything is fucking up so bad. They fire all the FAA people and now suddenly we have fucking planes landing upside down and running into each other. But it doesn't have anything to do with anything else. You know what I'm saying? And it's frustrating to watch. I was talking to a friend whose grandmother, she takes care of her grandmother, well into her 90s. Well into your 90s, you're used to watching the news. And the news right now is it makes people sick to their stomach because it is so thing. You want to know what? The stuff that they're cutting is for the poor people, and the poor people don't get shit. You want to know what I want to see cut? I want to see the Department of Defense that spends untold amount of money on everything. They're giving this fucking directed energy weapon bullshit to people like Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. They're running amok. Do I think that it's going to come from the people who don't have shit? No, I don't. I don't. And do I think that was it what there is no real understanding to what's happening with all of this stuff. They're just fucking cutting people, you know? And you want to know what? What your whole argument is greed. You don't have enough, you want more. And that's exactly what's fucking bringing us down. That's exactly what's bringing us down. They're feeding on our greed while they keep the fucking money away from us. Because you want to know what? If the billionaires actually fucking contributed instead of flying their fat asses into space for 9 seconds, I think things would be a little bit better. You know? Do you really think that them cutting their programs and getting all of this money is going to put a fucking nickel back in your pocket? Has it ever? When has trickle-down economics ever fucking worked? Ever. Ever. You know? What it's doing is isolating us and creating a fucking job market that it's going to paralyze people. Because all these people that you're seeing getting cut, they're just, all their money's gone. They're just getting cut off. And most people in America can't afford a $400 emergency payment. So you take all their fucking money. What? They're just supposed to starve on the streets, right? You know? Our taxes that are too high. How much has Microsoft paid? Google? What did Google pay? What did Elon Musk pay? All of these rich ass people, what exactly were they paid? Oh, wait a minute. They get money from the government. Google gets money from the government. Not only do they not pay taxes, we give them money. You know? There won't be any grandchildren. You starve a bunch of people, it's fucking chaos. It's chaos. When these people start starving, they're already angry. They're already chasing their representatives out of their town halls. The anger is already getting palatable. That's what's going to happen. When they start starving, and they're all going to start starving, what we're going to see is not a civil war. What we are about to see is a revolution. Because Americans don't want a king. And they don't want someone who jokes about being a king and wants to be a dictator and hangs out with people who's a dictator. Maybe if we didn't send so much fucking money to Israel, we would have more money for our own people. You know? That's how it fucking works. We're giving a ton of money every fucking week to Israel. You know? I know you care about your own greed. You care about yourself. That's the whole thing, you know? But I'm not going to get in here and talk about politics because it's just, what am I going to do? You know, we can argue whatever you want. You're right. You don't have enough. You know what? They should just fucking kill the people. Then you can go take their shit. How's that? How's that? Isn't that what fucking happened in World War II? Well, you want to know what about Ukraine? Ukraine is known as the world's breadbasket. So much food comes from Ukraine. That's what they're fighting about, is the food that comes from Ukraine. Because its nickname is the world's breadbasket. So you're right. Give Putin, the dictator, the world's breadbasket. You know, you're right. But we'll just keep funneling money into Israel because that's what we always do, isn't it? You know? You know, if we did not live in a global thing, but actually separating ourselves from the rest of the world is not going to work. We are too globally connected. You want to have a king. Dude, I'm done. Dumbass kids who don't have a fucking clue in their heads. And that's why I say the world is about ready to crash. It is about ready to crash. Things are going to go bad, and they're going to go bad very quickly. They already are. We are in the last days. Everything is starting to fall the fuck apart. And the only reason why people tell themselves it's not is because they want to tell themselves that it's not. Spiritually, it's the same message. Because what's going on in my life is not the same for everyone else. Unless you were trained like I was by Aquino, unless you were in a place where they were murdering kids and pledging their souls to you, my role has always been weirdly different than everyone else's. But what the lot of everyone needs to focus on is fill your hearts with love. Because if you do not have the energy that filling your heart with love provides, you are not going to ascend. And if you can't ascend, you are going to get stuck in the spiritual black hole this group has produced. Because that is what they've done. They've produced a black hole. All of their evil shit is now. The chickens always come home to roost, and now that's where we're at. So fill your heart with love. Fill your hearts with love. Try to be an inspiration to people around you. And to do that is to actually be a decent person with empathy who cares. Filling your hearts with love and trying to inspire people around you to do the same thing. Because their dark is consuming them. It is consuming them. Dude, I'm not gonna, no. See, they don't like it because those little things that come up here, I think I took those off, because yesterday they were just pissing me off, and they knew they were pissing me off because I was already angry, and I just realized that things are in God's hands, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. Half of their shit is not even half. Probably 99.999% of their shit is just complete and utter bullshit. They just play mind games. They lie. And they play games. And they lie and play games. And lie and play games. But if you know that they're lying and you don't play the games, and that's really about the only thing I do anymore is take screenshots of their shit and send it to the fucking investigators and cops. I have a big email list that just keeps growing every day. And I just send all the shit out. Because people need to see it. People need to see it, especially investigators. They need to see it. And so now they do. I have a feeling that again, the dude was decent yesterday. I apologize for being a dick, but I was so triggered that I just couldn't believe that they were going after someone that I haven't even spoke to in 13 years. And do I trust him? Do I believe him? No, I don't trust him and I don't believe him. And I just don't care, Oh, I must not have taken off the thing, so now it's just happy faces. But I'm not angry today, so I just don't give a shit anymore. their crap is so juvenile. It's just so juvenile. They're just, and they don't realize how damn dumb they are. And so it's just fine. I'm going to get off here anyway because it's Sunday and I had shit to do. But I wanted to come on and apologize. They're so predictable and so easy to manipulate. Because I said what I said to see if it would happen. Because I saw a heart or two go up. And so I just wanted to see if I could get him to do it. So if I know if it works. And so it does. They're easy to manipulate. They're fucking stupid. And they're obsessed with me. They have nothing better to do. It's like they sit around and wait to watch everything that I do. It is just, I've never given anybody in my life that much thought that they give me. It's just an unhealthy way to look at it. And they think that they're actually succeeding and doing shit and actually, and really when it comes down to it, they're just kind of stupid. They're just really pathetic. And it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad. And they just think that they're all that. And they do think that they've won. When God responds and the world isn't working the way that they think, because you want to know what? Pretty soon you won't be worrying about fucking taxes. You'll be worrying about where we're running. Because the Yellowstone is getting ready to explode. When it explodes, or that volcano that's off the thing of Oregon explodes, what my concern of is it's going to relieve pressure. And Texas just had the biggest earthquake they've ever had on record. And it's right at the base of the North American Craton, which none of these idiots know anything about. They don't know anything about science. I really do wish they convinced themselves that they could fly and just go to the top of a big building. Try out their ignorance. It's just, they're just about as ignorant. This is their capabilities right there. That's their capabilities. They think they're doing something. But once that goes and the North American Craton moves, that's all of the United States and into Canada. The North American Craton is huge. And it's going to have an effect. It's going to have an effect. The fact that the Earth is tilted and the North Pole is moving further and further into Siberia in a way that they've never seen it move before, But so when all this shit happens, paying taxes is not going to be things are going to get bad. Things are already getting bad. It's just that now they want everyone focused on these idiots. See, I'll just do this. I'm going to actually get off here anyway. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I have things to do. But thank you, dude, because now I know that every time I do one of these, I'm going to shut this shit off. Every time. I only figured it out last time when I went off. And I thought once I turned it off that it would work. Now I know that it doesn't. And I'll be fixing that. I am able to learn, I'm going to say a prayer. So, Heaven, God, we come to you as your children. Things are getting ready to just go down. And we're being ruled by idiots. And greed. And people who are completely in it, completely for themselves. Their power. Just as it was written. We are at the end. And I ask that you help those who are able to hear and are able to respond accordingly, that they fill their hearts with love in a way that it inspires those who can be saved to at least give them a little bit of a hope. And in doing so, helping those of us who try to do that, surround us with grace and let us know that what we're doing is the proper thing. We're being ruled by idiots who are so hate-filled. They go out of their way to just bug the shit out of everyone because they have no sense of power of their own. They are true and total incels. And just, I ask, let people see beyond their bullshit and realize that their games only work to a certain point. Once you realize and see their stupid shit, they can't think of anything to do otherwise. They're not bright. And so just realize that they're more to be pitied than anything. They think that they have it all in there about ready to be claimed by the dark, and they're too ignorant to see it. Those of us who are able to fill our hearts with love can do so because you sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, down. And we are not only to emulate him, but to learn from his teachings, which are infallible. We are to love God and love all those around us and have compassion and caring and work within those parameters. And I just ask that those of us who are of that nature, you bring it forth in all of us in a way that is undeniable. Let us emulate our brother. Help us to emulate our brother. And forget the dumbasses who are about ready to be claimed by the dark. All of these Nazis who have to wear hoods and hide in the dark and play in the shadows and play all the fucking games because their shit isn't tolerated out and about. And they're unwanted and unloved. And that's sad, but we all make choices. Jesus redeems. It's not our job to do so. And so we say these things. I say these things. Help those who can emulate our brother, emulate it. And I say that, all of this, gratefully in our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. And that's it. I'm done. It's a short thing. I apologize for yesterday. I was very triggered. I hope my ex is fine, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry that this shit is once again upon his doorstep, but this group only has so much stupid shit. You know, don't do meth, dude. It causes a Skeletor look. I don't have a Skeletor look. You know? Dumbass. And I'm going to be 59 years old this year. You know? And don't have a Skeletor look. Don't have sores. Don't have a Skeletor look. Just because you don't like what I'm saying doesn't mean that it's shit. It just means you're an idiot who says dumbass shit. You know? Because that's all you can think of. This shit and this shit, which I'm all going to leave on here. So everyone can see. When you're worried about this group, this is what they can do. This is what they can do. They don't have the brain power to actually think themselves out of a ripped, wet paper bag. They tell themselves that they're brilliant. They tell themselves they know everything. And yet, isn't that what the ignorant do? You can't convince a fool of anything because they know it all. This is what they're capable of. This is what they're capable of. Don't give them more power than they have. Trust me, these dumbasses feel powerless. That's what fuels their obsession. That's what fuels their obsession. They're not convinced of their own power at all. So, with that said, fill your hearts with love. Or don't. And end up with this group. For an eternity. Really? That's what you want to do? You might want to rethink.